GPT-5 isn't just smarter, it's strategic. It routes its processing power in real time, using only what's needed for simple tasks and going deeper when problems get complex. In 8 minutes, I'll show you exactly what changed and whether GPT-5 could be the best coding assistant yet. Here's the plan. We'll cover how it manages its thinking, walk through live quality coding examples, put its results in context with benchmark data, look at API access and pricing, and finish with ways you can try it now. If you want fast, practical AI dev updates, subscribe now. I'll keep it short. Let's start with the biggest shift in how GPT-5 approaches a problem. One of the most striking shifts with GPT-5 is how it decides what kind of mental effort to put into a task. Earlier models operated in fixed modes. If you set them to fast, they stayed fast but sometimes missed deeper insights. If you picked high reasoning, they'd chew through every request slowly, even when it wasn't needed. GPT-5 takes a different path. It can read the nature of your query and match the depth of its analysis to the challenge in front of it, almost like a colleague deciding whether to fire off a quick reply or dig into a full investigation. This is powered by what OpenAI calls a unified system with intelligent query routing. At its core, that means there's no longer a set of separate models that you pick between manually. Instead, GPT-5 acts as a single brain that can shift gears. If you ask a question that's straightforward, it can process and reply in a minimal form without engaging all of its heavy computation layers. But if your request shows signs of complexity, maybe it involves multiple dependencies, vague requirements, or a need to interpret data, it can route your query through more advanced reasoning steps to provide a stronger answer. Think about debugging a section of code. With a fixed mode model, even finding a missing semicolon could trigger slow, resource-heavy processing if you were in deep thinking mode. With GPT-5, the model spots that it's a simple syntax issue and delivers a quick solution without wasting extra compute cycles. On the other hand, if you hand it a broken game engine with several interacting components, it recognizes the higher complexity and allocates more reasoning power to trace the problem, test variations, and suggest a fix. The impact here isn't just about speed, it directly affects cost, since you're not paying for intensive computation on jobs that don't require it. In front-end development, the difference becomes clear with two extremes. Ask GPT-5 for a basic landing page layout with a headline, a paragraph, and a button, and it will quickly produce clean HTML and CSS ready to drop into your project. Now ask it for a multi-level browser game with physics, collision detection, a scoreboard, and dynamic difficulty adjustments, and you'll see it switch into a slower, more exhaustive mode, mapping dependencies, integrating logic, and handling interactive behaviors without needing you to break down the steps manually. One developer I spoke with was used to running batches of similar coding requests daily for client projects. In their tests with GPT-5, small card UI components that used to be generated in around 30 seconds by earlier tools were being returned almost instantly, while complex, interactive widgets came back just as fast as before, but with fewer logic errors. For them, that meant they could get through double their daily workload without touching their budget for API usage. For solo developers or small teams, this matters even more. If you're on a tight budget or racing to prototype, avoiding unnecessary compute usage keeps costs lean. It also reduces context switch fatigue. You're not waiting on slow responses for the easy wins, and you get robust problem solving only where it counts. This smart allocation is what lets GPT-5 operate in a way that feels closer to a real coding partner than a static tool. Later, we'll look directly at benchmark scores to see how far ahead this approach puts GPT-5 compared to competitors, but even without the numbers in front of us, the behavior shift is a clear sign that adaptive reasoning has moved from theory to practice. That shift in adaptive reasoning becomes especially clear when you look at GPT-5's front-end generation capabilities. The model can take a plain language request and return a fully functional, styled, and interactive app or game, without you needing to manually stitch its parts together. This goes beyond template filling or boilerplate. It's about producing components that are connected, coherent, and usable from the moment they're generated. Where earlier code generators often stumbled on projects with interdependent elements, GPT-5 maintains those links during generation. In past tools, you might get a static layout fine, but adding animations, interactions, or responsive elements often required reshaping the code by hand. Here, the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are generated as a unified build, aligned to handle both appearance and function from the start. It produces tighter, more integrated front-end builds in many cases, though some narrow benchmarks still favor other models on specific code tasks. Demo outputs give a sense of what's possible. One request yielded a responsive analytics dashboard that displayed live example data with filters and hover tooltips. Another produced a playable, interactive castle-style browser game, complete with movement controls, scoring logic, and real-time adjustments to gameplay based on follow-up prompts in the same session. Other examples exist, but these two illustrate the range: clean, data-driven UI on one hand and fully interactive game environments on the other. In the game example, adjusting mechanics mid-session didn't require starting over. You could alter movement speed, scoring rules, or collision boundaries, and GPT-5 modified only the relevant sections while preserving the rest of the build. That iterative editing flow makes it easier to explore variations without breaking the project, a significant step toward using the model as a hands-on coding partner. A core reason this works is its holistic approach to front-end output. It keeps track of application state, input interactions, and dependencies across multiple files or layers, so the parts fit together on first run more often than earlier models managed. This is the same reasoning skill needed in other domains that require integrating multiple constraints before producing an answer. On developer-focused metrics, GPT-5 shows clear gains. Cognition's Junior Dev Eval shows it leading in exploration, planning, and execution compared to some alternatives, a pattern that mirrors the quality seen in its generated projects. That said, research also shows it doesn't claim the top spot on every coding-related benchmark, making it important to view its wins and trade-offs together. For developers, onboarding is straightforward. It integrates with common coding environments. Demos in Cursor and VS Code suggest quick adoption, so you likely won't need a major workflow overhaul. Cursor and Windsurf are offering free access for developers to try GPT-5 in coding workflows, making it easy to test without changing your current setup. For solo builders, rapid prototyping is where the impact is most obvious. The time between having an idea and running a usable prototype can shrink from days to a single focused session. And for teams, the balance between automated structure and the ability to adapt features interactively opens new ways to approach problem solving in development work. GPT-5's combination of adaptive reasoning and complete production, ready code output shifts it from being just a faster model to becoming a genuine partner in solving technical problems. Instead of forcing you to adjust your work to fit the tool, it adjusts itself to the task in front of it. That changes how you plan, test, and ship. Think about your current projects. Which ones could move forward faster if setup time and debugging were handled instantly? If you want more straight-to-the-point breakdowns of the latest AI tools and coding techniques, hit subscribe and stay ahead of the curve.